guys, it's me, and today we are here with the final installment of my makeup collection series. And today we are tackling my palettes. I think last time I counted, I think I had 45 palettes. I've talked about this in like the face products video and especially the lips products video, but I am going to be going through and just purging a lot of my makeup collection just simply because I just have so much and I'm not really reaching for a lot of these things. And so I was just like, why do I have it? I don't need it. I'm not reaching for it. I'm not loving it. Let's just part with it. But we're just gonna talk about everything, show you guys everything that I have. I'm not gonna say what all it is that I'm gonna keep, what all it is that I'm gonna part with. Or maybe I will say what I'm gonna part with, I don't know. But this isn't like a declutter series at all. Like, this is the collection series. You guys gotta see everything. Maybe later in the future you guys will see everything that I wind up decluttering. Let's go ahead and get ready to dive on into this because we got a lot of palettes to get through. And I'm starting to get really hungry, and I also need to start prepping to get ready for work today. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on into this. But before we do so, if you guys are new here to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, and also while down there, definitely give this video a thumbs up because it'll help me out a lot. All my links are down in the description box below, and let's get started. Oh god, where do we even begin? Because I have so many palettes. We'll start out with Melt, because I do have two palettes from them. Well, one of them is a stack and one is a palette. So the palette that I have from them is the Millennial Pinks palette. I actually really like this palette. There are some shades in here that I wish were a bit different, and it's not the best palette either, but I like it enough to keep it. Then we have the Ethereal Bloom palette from Artist Couture, and I wanted this palette so badly, but I only have used it once. But it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I love the shades in here so much. Like the shade here. Oh my god, it's stunning. I have two Huda Beauty palettes. This one is the Nude Light Obsessions, which mine had a bit of an accident in transit when I had ordered it, and all the metallics came shattered. Luckily, I was able to salvage it, but still looks a little bit worse for wear. But other than that, though, I really love this palette. The shades in here are so pretty and beautiful, and I just really love this palette. Definitely a palette that I am keeping. And then the second Huda Beauty palette, this is the Mercury Retrograde palette, which the packaging on this, stunning. The shades in here, lovely. I've only ever used this palette once and I've had it for a few months now. I might wind up decluttering it because a lot of the neutrals in here are very similar to one another. And even though like the shimmers and whatnot are super pretty, I don't know, I might part with this one. I'm still debating on it. And so, yeah. Oh, I forgot to show you guys that Melt stack that I had. Let me go ahead and show that to you guys now. This is the Blueprint stack. So it randomly popped in stock on Sephora a while back. And when I say a while back, I mean, I think it was maybe about a year ago. Because it was before I shaved off my hair to restart the growing out process of my buzz cut. So yeah, it was about a year ago. But this is the Blueprint stack, and I love the colors in here. I've only ever used it once though, so I might rehome it, even though the shades in here are so beautiful and pretty. I'm probably gonna wind up rehoming it though, because I just don't reach for it. I just don't reach for it, even though I would love to. I'll touch on some other random brands that I got in here. I got a Juvia's Place bronzer palette in the shade Light. I don't really reach for this as often as I thought that I would. I need to reach for it again because this is a really nice little bronzer palette. I typically mix both of these shades together because this one on its own is too light and this one is a bit too warm for me. But mixing them together, match made in heaven. I have the legendary, now discontinued, Alchemist palette from KVD. Definitely am keeping this even though I rarely ever use it. I typically just use these for like brow bone and inner corner highlights, which I know might seem like a bit of a waste to some people, but I just love this palette. It's wonderful. This palette I need to use again to see if I want to keep it or not. I created a stunning look using it, but I don't know if I'm going to wind up keeping it. But this is also a thing possibly discontinued. This is the Rosy Glam Quad from Makeup by Mario, and this is what it looks like. There's only been one matte shade, and it's the brown in here, but this is such a beautiful color story. I'm so tempted to just keep it because it's a smaller palette. Same thing goes for this one. This one I believe has also been discontinued, and this was the Totally Plastic palette in pink sunglasses from the BH Cosmetics Iggy Azalea collab, and it's such a pretty color story, but I've only used it once, and honestly I do have these shades throughout my collection, but they're in a palette though altogether, and so I don't know. I really love it, but I don't know if I'm going to wind up keeping it or not. Next up, I have the Purex Robin E. Christie collab, the double-sided palette. If you're unfamiliar with this side of the palette has some neutrals in it, and then this side of the palette has some bright colors. Really do like this palette. Definitely am keeping it. I haven't reached for it in a while, but I'm still going to keep it. Then we have the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette, which was done in collaboration with Angelica Nyquist here on YouTube. This is such a lovely palette with a lovely color story. I've only used it once. Need to reach for it more because I love it so much. I also have like the gift box that came with it, and I use it to actually store jewelry and whatnot in, so I repurposed that guy. Actually, speaking of Angie, I also have the Odin's Eye palette that she did with them, which is the Hella palette. And that was the outer sleeve. This is the regular packaging for it. And it's a really beautiful palette. I've only used it once, but I've had it for a couple months now. I need to use it again. And it's a beautiful, beautiful palette. Perfect for spring, in my opinion. And I have this magnetic palette that I got through ColourPop. I don't think they make this particular one anymore, but I do have some singles in here. These are 12 shades from the Melt Impulsive palette, which I'm probably going to declutter some shades from this, and I might actually just throw them all out because I think I might have shades for all of these except for maybe like a couple of them now in other palettes. And then these 8 right here, these are Makeup Geek shadows, which I'm probably going to wind up decluttering all the mattes in this satin shade here, but the metallics I'm going to keep. And then I have 2 Sugar Pill Pro Pans in here. I have Taco and Bulletproof in here. No. This is Ice Angel. And that one is bulletproof. So yeah, which I think Ice Angel might be discontinued. It might be, I don't know. Then I have the Nikkie Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette. I love this palette so much, but I hate the packaging. I hate the split fold here so much. But the color story is everything. I love this palette so much. I haven't reached for it in a while. I definitely need to do so because, again, stunning palette. And then in terms of just like palettes that I just have random brands from, everything where I might just have like 2 palettes from a particular brand, or just a single palette from, this is the last of that particular category, and that is the Tartelette Full Bloom palette from Tarte. I've been curious about trying out Tarte shadows, and I bought this when it was like 5 times the points at Ulta, and it's a beautiful formula. I just haven't reached for it. I only used it but one time, and I haven't even had the idea to reach for it, and it's been far too long to return it. So I think I'll just pass this along to a friend. I know my friend Shelby, I think she'll probably really love this palette, so I think I might give it to her. You know how I said that was last in like the brands where I might just have a one-off palette from, or like 2 palettes from? There is another brand that I have 2 palettes from. I'll go ahead and pop into them next, because everybody else I have more than like 3 or like 4 plus palettes from, but that is Marc Jacobs. I actually have 2 Marc Jacobs palettes. This first one here is the recent addition to my collection, and I got this at TJ Maxx. If I can open it, here we go. And this is the Omega X3 palette in 200 Tantastic Glow. And this is what it looks like. The highlighter in here actually works well for my skin tone because it's actually quite sheer in terms of its base. The bronzer works really well, and the blush also works really well for me. And also it's kind of a really nice big mirror. I've only ever used it once, so I need to play around with it again. But when I did use it, I really liked how everything worked. I just didn't really care for how the foundation looked that day. So next time I play with it, I'm going to use a foundation that I actually enjoy. And the other Marc Jacobs palette that I have here is the Iconic palette in Fantasine. It's such a basic color story, but I have been wanting this palette for years. So when I saw that it went on sale on Sephora, I immediately went after it and got it. Formula wise, not the most exciting formula, but again, I'm just so happy to have this palette in my collection because this was the only of the Marc Jacobs palettes that I ever wanted. So the fact that I now have it is just lovely and wonderful. It's definitely something that is just like, even though I probably rarely am ever going to use it, it's mostly staying in my collection for like sentimental things. Alright, so I guess since we're talking luxury, let's move on into Natasha Denona because I do have 5 Natasha Denona palettes. I have 2 minis and then I have 2 5-pan. No, not 2, 3 5-pans. One of the minis that I have is the Mini Love palette. Yes, this is the Mini Love palette. It's got some like romantic tones in it. A really nice like smoky eye palette. I really like the Natasha Denona formula. I find that's really lovely and easy to work with. This is the Mini Tropic palette. And by the way, I got all of these at some sort of discounted price, by the way, so yeah. And I recently used this guy. Did I wear this in the eye products collection video? I think I did. And it's a really stunning palette, really beautiful colors in here. I really love this blue shade. It's so pretty. I have like 3 of like the larger 5-pan palettes. This first one here is the Coral palette, which I think this one has been discontinued. This is what it looks like. Open it up. This is a beautiful palette. It reminds me a bit of that Makeup by Mario palette, but just a bit warmer. Which is part of the reason why, like, I think I'm going to keep both, because this one's definitely more warm and that one's more cool tone. But also, I can easily use these shades in conjunction with that one as well. And then these last 2, these were like BoxyCharm exclusives. This one I actually got in the BoxyCharm. This is the Ayana palette. And it's a cool tone neutrals palette. And honestly, I think I'm going to declutter this one. So I just rarely reach for it. It doesn't really spark that much joy for me. And this one I will keep, and this one I actually got off with someone from Mercari because they didn't want this palette from that BoxyCharm, and this is the Jubilee palette, and I love the color story in here. It's very vibrant. This is like a black and teal. It looks a lot darker in the pan, but when it's actually swatched, it's a lot brighter. And also this shade is in that Mini Tropic palette, and I know this one came from the Tropic palette, like the original Tropic palette. So yeah, because when it comes to like the BoxyCharm palettes from Natasha Denona that you can get, the shades are actually like picked out from like pre-existing Natasha Denona palettes. Next up, I guess we'll tackle Sugar Pill. The first one that I have here is a Mini Pro Pan palette. And I have 6 Pro Pans in here. The mini only comes with 6 pans. The full-size Pro Pan palette has 12. So we have Taco. I want to say this is Hypnotic. I can't remember the name of the shade. This one is... Ooh, I can't remember the name of this one either. But this one's Love Plus, Flame Point, and Poison Plum, which Poison Plum has been discontinued. These 4 here are all OG shades as well. But yeah, I love the Sugar Pill Pro Pan formula. I need to reach for this palette more because I don't know if I've used the blue or the lavender in there, but I know I've used the other 4 though. And then I have both of the Fun Size palettes. So this one is the original Fun Size, so Fun Size Volume 1. It's like a pastel, borderline neon leaning rainbow palette. And then this one is Fun Size 2, which came out just a few months ago. And again, another like pastel, slightly deeper leaning rainbow palette. They definitely go perfectly together. Like they're very much like extensions of one another. And also the turkey sprites. I love them so, so much. This is turkey, by the way, like turkey to dumpster kitty. And then I have all 4 of the capsule palettes because at the end of the year they had a deal where it was like get all 4 for $100. So that's what I did because I've been wanting to try these guys out, and I've tried out all of them except for the 4th one, which is the anniversary palette, which I'll get to in a moment. But this one is C1, and these are the colors inside of it. It's really beautiful. This one is definitely a bit more pastel leaning, and these really large pans in them can be used either as eyeshadows or blushes, by the way. I have C2, which this was done in celebration of them going into Ulta for a period of time. They're no longer in Ulta, but they were, like I said, for a period of time. And this one's a really like everyday type of palette with a lot of pops of color in it. Then we have C3, which was a palette that they released in time for Halloween. Really cool toned, really pretty. And then lastly, we have the anniversary palette, and it has like the gold pill, and these are the shades in it. Like I said, this is the only one that I haven't played around with yet. And they also brought back an OG shade that was in a Pro Pan, which is After Party in this one. It's called After Party 20. Yeah, it's called After Party 2020. I was about to say After Party 2012. No. Those are my sugar pill palettes. I guess the next brand we'll tackle will be... Should we do ColourPop next? Yeah, let's go ahead and do ColourPop because I have a lot of ColourPop palettes. The first one that we have is the only mega palette that I have, which is So Jaded, which was done in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. And I might declutter this one because I just don't ever reach for it. It's a beautiful color story, but I've had it for about a year, maybe close to 2 years now, and I've only have used it, but I think maybe once or twice. Now this glitter here I used on Shelby for her wedding day. That's why there's a pretty big dent in there. But other than that though, I haven't really reached for this palette at all. So I'm probably going to wind up decluttering it when I do my purge. And then I have one of their cheek quads, and this is an extra glazed. And it's like a very light, cool toned blush palette. Although this one looks really dark in the pan, it's not. Trust me, it's a very neutral leaning blush. And this one here is a Super Shock highlighter. And I believe you can probably get all of these separately. I think. I know you can get the Smoke and Whistles Super Shock highlighter separately. And I want to say Swirled is also a blush that you can get separately as well. But I'm probably going to declutter this because I just don't reach for it anymore. Peach Colada Duo. So I got these together in a bundle. So we got Baby Got Peach and Going Coconuts. Going Coconuts is like a more like cooler toned, neutral brown palette. Really beautiful. Definitely keeping this one. And then Baby Got Peach is one of their pastel palettes, and it's peach toned, obviously. Again, definitely keeping this one. And then I have Costa Coral, which I know some people might say that I don't need to have this one as well as Baby Got Peach, but it's a lot deeper and everything. Like these two palettes go really well together. And then I have the Powerpuff Girls palette, which I do love this so much. And it has so many beautiful colors in it, like this green, but I don't really need it, and I only have used it once, so I think I might rehome this one. This one I'm definitely keeping. This is At Forest Sight, which was done in collaboration with Robbie Christie, which this is, I would say, like a pretty close dupe for the Subculture palette from Anastasia. It's very similar in terms of color story. This one is just a bit brighter. That one's a lot deeper, which you'll see that in a moment because I do have that palette. But I love this guy so much. Again, I need to reach for this one more because I love it. Next up we have Sonic Bloom, which I love the packaging on this one so much. But these are the colors in here. It's a really beautiful palette, but I might part with it though, because I don't know. I just haven't seen myself reaching for it that much. Same thing goes for this one. This is the Nightmare Before Christmas palette. Beautiful color story, but really the only reason why I wanted it was for this metallic pink. So I might wind up decluttering this one as well when I do my purge. And the last 4 ColourPop palettes that I have, yes I have more, are all Star Wars related palettes because I am a slut for Star Wars. The Child, stunning. We have The Mandalorian, again, stunning, very grungy, really like this one. Then we have Darth Vader, which is very cool tone with a pop of red in there, really like this one. Created a really interesting look using that palette, by the way. And then we have the latest edition, the Star Wars palette, which I adore this palette so much. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. So those are all my ColourPop palettes. So now let's tackle my ABH palettes. So we'll start out with this one. This is Subculture. I got this off of Mercari, and I don't know if it's just the formula isn't that great or if this one is just super old, but it just doesn't perform that great in some areas. But other than that though, I do really love the color story of this palette so much. Like I said, it's very similar to the At Forest Sight palette, just a lot deeper and grungier and murkier. So yeah, and I really want to create like a super grungy, like bruised eye look using that palette. This one is a recent addition. This is the Riviera palette. I found this at TJ Maxx and I'm so happy that I wound up picking it up because it is a really stunning palette and love the color story for it. Because I was torn between getting this one or the Alyssa Edwards palette, but I decided to go with this one because for one, I found it in store. And 2, I don't know, I just feel as if I would reach for this one a bit more than Alyssa Edwards. Then we have the classic, the OG, Modern Renaissance. I mean, you can't go wrong with that palette. Then I have Norvina, which I really love this palette. I love this palette a lot more than I thought that I would. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette. But we have my favorite ABH palette, and probably one of my favorite palettes, period. Jackie Aina. This one sadly flew under the radar, and it is just a stunning palette. A stunning palette. If it's still available on ABH's site, get it. Because this is everything and more. Like I said, it is my favorite palette. It's probably my favorite palette in my collection. And the last brand that we have here is Lunar Beauty. I only have 4 of their palettes. And honestly, it's probably going to stay that way because these are really just the 4 palettes that I am like over the moon about from them. First up we have Life's a Drag Facelift, which this is the recent addition to my collection from them. And it's got your neutrals and it's got your rainbow shades in here. I really love this palette, especially the green. The green. Oh my god, I love the green in here. I had been searching for like a true green like that for so long. I finally got it in that palette. Then we have Strawberry Dream, which I actually got this through Sephora when Lunar Beauty was being phased out. So I got it at a discounted price. But this is what it looks like. I haven't reached for it that much, but I really love this palette, especially the blue diamond shade up here. I definitely need to reach for this palette some more because it's just a stunning, stunning palette and just stunning packaging. And then we have the Moonspell palettes, which I'll start out with volume 2 because between the two, this one isn't my favorite, but I still love it. It's such a gorgeous color story with like the reds, the pinks, and purples. It's a really beautiful color story. But between the two, the original, the volume 1, is definitely my favorite. And this is another one of my favorite palettes in my collection. Sadly, this one is no longer available. but look at it. Oh, it's so beautiful with like the murky greens, the purples, neutrals that are in here. I just love this one so, so much. Like I said, it's one of my favorite palettes in my collection. And those are all my palettes. And that is it for my makeup collection. Wow. I actually got through that pretty quickly. We're just right at 31 minutes now of me recording. Huh, I did pretty good at that. But yeah, that is my makeup collection. I have a lot of products. I have far too many things in my makeup collection, and I have far too many palettes. The next time you guys see me talk about my makeup collection, it's probably gonna be a massive declutter. Because like I mentioned, like I just have so much stuff that I'm not using, and right now I'm wanting to get rid of the things that I'm not using in my life, and that's not like bringing me joy and happiness and whatnot, and things that I'm not reaching for. And not just like my makeup, but also with like clothing and whatnot. So it's just, I'm like, if it's not benefiting me, I just need to part with it. And that's the mood that I've been in lately. And so probably within like a week or so, maybe, I'm probably gonna like just purge my makeup collection and just do a dramatic deep cleaning of it. But that is it for this video, and that is it for my makeup collection series. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun being able to just show you guys my makeup and to just have a chill time with you guys and everything, especially with knowing like the next video that's going to be coming up. I'm not going to spoil it, but some things are happening, and yeah, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and until I see you guys in my next one, whenever the hell that may be, goodbye.